the Lions went to the last two District 5 championship last spring, and they finished either second or third in the Summit last year in the fall. So, Coach Garrison, what are going to be some expectations going into this spring of 2020?
Well, I think our expectations kind of grow each day. We're kind of young, so to speak. We don't have a lot of experience back. But so with that, I look for us to grow each day and hopefully become a tougher team as we gain a little experience under our belt and learn how to play at the level that we want to play on, and hopefully we'll have some success early and see those things grow quicker rather than later. So, but I don't ever set a limit for any of my teams. I always want them to achieve what they can achieve, and a lot of times as coaches or as parents we'll set limits and think, well, they're not as good as this team or that, and really it's not fair to anybody. So we just kind of the sky's the limit, and we'll work and see how high up the mountain we can climb, and work again tomorrow and get there. So
just work again tomorrow, work any day to get to the highest summit in Misha, which is go to the Final Four and potentially win state. And now as we look at your schedule for this year, you play Mexico, Camdenton, and then you play West Plains and Ava. So that's a lot of meat on the bone when you got Mexico, Camdenton, West Plains, and Ava. So what do you expect from when you guys play those teams in, once again, Mexico, Camdenton, West Plains, and Ava?
Yeah, I've always believed in toughening up your schedule is going to help you. Your record might not reflect a great season. Sometimes it's not a very good reflection, depending on how well you perform that day. But I think just playing tougher and tougher each day, opponents just helps do nothing but prepare us. I used to worry about as a young coach, these guys aren't winning, or they need to win a little bit. Well, I think that's true too to a point. But if we were playing maybe a lighter schedule, we wouldn't really know how tough we are either. I think we need challenged to the point to where we may fail from time to time in order to find out where our weaknesses are and how to grow and get there. So I've always been a firm believer on toughening up the schedule. Shows more about who you are and where you need to go to get where you want to be. Because, like you said, the Final Four and be the one at the end with the number one in the air, just is our ultimate goal, and it always will be. Just to be honest with our tradition, and we've seen the other side and know that it's capable of happening, and not doesn't always happen, but we're always going to set our goals high and go from there.
Just go from there and just set your goals high. That's what people expect over at the junction of US 60 and Highway 5 over in Mansfield. And so this Mansfield team has a rich history of going to state. They've also won state, so they've been there and they've done that. So with this season going on, what is going to be the Mansfield way that you're going to be coaching your players this year?
Well, the Mansfield way is doing it the right way every time. Is doing it with class and working hard to get there. I try hard to instill in my teams. I don't care who we're playing today. I want to go out and find a way to win. And with that kind of grit, it takes that kind of grit to overcome some big games. And when you get in the postseason, you start to the point where you either win or you go home for the year. You put a lot of pressure on yourself. We got to build, the Mansfield way of the accomplishments done in the past are built on mental toughness, being able to do it when it counted, and when your team called your number and relying on you to hold up your end. Are you going to be mentally tough enough to perform well? We talk a lot about that, about our approaches at the plate. What are we thinking? And that emotion a lot of times doesn't help us on the field. Everybody wants to do our best all the time, but sometimes we get too amped up or too mad at ourselves, and our frustration costs us and ultimately the team opportunities to do better. And I talk a lot about mental toughness, as I've been coached that way, and the Mansfield tradition that I'm trying to carry on here is just a long, rich tradition of that, and doing it when it counts the most, and we're doing it the right way as well is something that each day I strive to carry on. So,
looking at your roster for this year, you guys have 5 freshmen, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sophomores, along with about 5 seniors, and looks like 3 juniors on this year. So kind of a sophomore heavy and a little bit of freshmen and mixed with some juniors. So how experienced do you think your players are going to be for this year when you have a team with 5 freshmen along with about 6 or 7 sophomores, only 3 juniors and 5 seniors?
Yeah, I'm carrying about, obviously the seniors don't play JV, and I think I've got 8 seniors. I don't have the list in front of me, but I think I've got about 8, and I think I'm suiting up 17 or 18 on the varsity level this year, and just kind of looking ahead, I kind of think that this is going to be one of those years where we have a lot of competition day in, day out, and I'm probably going to use my bench more than I ever have, or more than I sometimes feel comfortable doing, just to see and get these guys some experience and see who rises to the top and what works best for this team. And we went through some of that this fall, and and I still see that I could have some of these guys step up when somebody's not carrying a load and give them an opportunity. And sometimes as coaches, you want to set out and make a lineup out and think, yeah, that's what's going to work today. And then what if it don't? Well, you got to make some changes, and sometimes them are tough changes to make. But we just work hard again every day and see what works best. And maybe tomorrow I gotta change my mind and go with something else. And but that's coaching. It's not always easy to make these decisions, and you take a long time evaluating them. But there's not a lot of experience in coming back. But we're looking at Arlie Miller and Heston Gray and Dawson Barnett are my 3 seniors that have substantial varsity experience. Holden Dennis has some as well. But Arlie was on that varsity squad back in 17 when he won state, and he was a big part of the wheel when we went back to the Final Four in 18. He got a runner up, and so he's seen the ins and outs of it and performed big on the big stage as a sophomore, and coming off kind of a down year for him. And I look for big things for him. Heston Gray this fall, as a pitcher and an infielder, he led us in many ways and hit .564 at bat. And at one time this fall, I say this a lot because it's a pretty impressive deal, he went to the plate 19 straight trips and successfully reached base 19 times, earned his way on. 14 for 14 during that time with 5 walks and a couple home runs, and it's a pretty impressive deal, and doesn't happen all the time, and it takes a lot of mental toughness to do that. But and Dawson Barnett had a really good fall for us as well, batted .417 from the DH role, and we put a lot of weight on our senior shoulders, as we always have, and we're looking for others to step up and fill in them roles and hopefully come together and be something to contend with in the postseason. So,
just be something to contend with in the postseason is to have a player like Arlie Miller or a player like Dawson Barnett to get you to those big games. And like you said, Arlie Miller, who has been to the Final Four, he's won a state championship, and that was actually in 2017, in which the community of Mansfield, and as well as not only just the Lions baseball team, but the community of Mansfield, Southwest Missouri, even the baseball world did lose a pioneer and coach, Doug Jones. So Do you guys still play, like, saying, like, Coach Jones is still watching over you guys almost day in and day out?
Oh yeah, I just to a degree, obviously. He's had such a huge thumbprint on just about everything that rolls through Mansfield, and I've told many people this, that Doug Jones taught me more about coaching than anybody else that I've ever been around, and the ways that, and I was fortunate enough to play for him back in the '90s during that time, and he's just an exceptional coach, Hall of Fame coach, most winning coach in high school history here in Missouri, and his ways is definitely etched in stone, and we celebrate that, and we celebrate the tradition, and we looking each year to leave our stamp on the program, and to wear that Lions baseball jacket every day, and know what that has meant in the past, and hopefully carry on for the future what that means. And absolutely, his thumbprint just everywhere, and like I said, we celebrate it. So
just do celebrate it with just keeping Coach Jones's legacy still there in the Mansfield dugout. And also another thing to talk about is with the recent health issues that have been going on with the fears of the coronavirus. What are you telling your players that they can prevent from catching the virus?
Well, I'll just be honest with you, Adam. I take instruction from others. I'm not an expert on health issues, but I'll tell you this. Misha sent out an announcement today, said that if your school is dismissed for the virus reasons and for emergency for a certain amount of time, that we're not allowed to practice during that time, and we will not be practicing during that time if that was to happen. Mansfield's not a school that's called off, and if that was to happen, then we'll honor that in every way. And I won't encourage kids to just be honest with you. I had to talk with them today. If you got time off, you're not going to be at practice. You're not going to be, I'm not going to ask you anything from you, but you're going to have a lot of time on your hands, free time on your hands. And I think as a parent myself and as a coach, obviously I worry about free time with kids sometimes, that they may not use it well, but I tell them, hey, we need to make ready. And, you're going to have a lot of time on your hands, and you're going to have a lot of time to think about, what's valuable to you and what means the most to you. And hopefully spending time with your family means something to you. We get so busy in life from time to time, and we don't, just able to stop and slow down. And this may provide us, if this was to happen, where we get a couple weeks off, or whatever. I don't know. I don't get to make those decisions. I just react with them. But if we get time off, then I hope, for my kids' sake, it's a time that they can draw near to their family and enjoy that time that they have together. I know this. I told them, I don't think they'll ever forget this experience going through this pandemic, and because this is new to me, and this is my 20th years teaching and coaching, and never experienced or heard of anything like this. But it's definitely going to leave an impression on us that we won't soon forget, and I hope that brings families together some way, and we all become closer from it. We've all got to make ready, and we are truly blessed in so many ways, and I try not to forget that, but sometimes I do. But I just hope that some kind of good can come out of this, and I'll be just disappointed as the kids. I'll be disappointed for the kids if this lingers on a long time and they're unable to get the opportunity to achieve goals that they've had set in front of them. And like I said, I'll just be disappointed for them, and if that happens. But if it doesn't happen, then I'm ready to work and help them get to where they want to be, and just working hard. So I really don't know what to think. I'm not an expert on any of it, but I hope that they, can some kind of good and bring our families closer together and can come of this. So
just get some kind of good out of this pandemic of the coronavirus. And just one thing is, players just need to just keep their hands clean mostly, that's one thing that could really, really eliminate the coronavirus. We just hope that nothing comes out in disappointment, say where the season is canceled. But from today, Misha did say that the spring season will not be canceled, so that is some good that has came out, even though the Final Four for classes 4 through 5 in basketball have been canceled for this week. But so far, spring sports will still be on for this year, and hopefully that the pandemic will end hopefully soon. So now back to baseball. So what is going to be the big words that you're going to be lecturing for your team in the clubhouse to bring a win to your clubhouse?
Well, I got a note here. I'm looking at my stats in this fall, and it's time to take the experience we have in this fall and finish strong. Mental toughness, and it always comes back to that, mental toughness. And I try to point out times to them when mentally they failed, and simply just mental. We had a good game plan, and things broke down because mentally you weren't tough enough to handle it. And at the same time, when they do handle it, I let them know that's exactly what I'm looking for. Great job. And so that's it. I just try to keep it simple. Find a way to win through mental toughness, and that's what I've kind of always preached and what I've been taught, and been fairly successful over the years, but not always, but pretty blessed. So
just find a way to win with mental toughness. And now, so what's going to be one word that you say would describe the Mansfield Lions?
I hope people say that we're gritty. I hope people walk away and say that we're gritty and tough to beat. That's what I hope people say about us. I don't want them thinking, boy, that was easier than I thought it was going to be, or they're still what we think they are. I hope they at least think we're gritty and our pitching's right now, if we're just talking about the baseball end of it, our pitching's good enough to keep us in ball games each day, or at least they were this fall. Our team ERA was 1.993 for the fall, which gives you an opportunity to win every day. When you're not giving up many earned runs, then if you can figure out a way to score some, and you're in the ball game. And I'm hoping that they continue to be able to do that. Obviously, like you talked about, our schedule's getting quite a bit tougher this spring. But, I'll admit, we got some growing to do before we can be gritty every day. But I look for days that we are gritty, and that's what I'd like people to be said about our program.
One more thing to talk about is the district. You're in Class 2, District 5, with Fordland, Gainesville, Seymour, which is your neighbors to the west, and then 2 SWCL teams in Sparta and Spokane. So what do you know about Fordland, Gainesville, Seymour, Sparta, and Spokane?
Well, I can speak of the summits, Fordland, Gainesville, Seymour. We faced them this fall. We actually managed to beat all 3 of them. Now, we split with Gainesville, I believe, beat Seymour and beat Fordland, but nothing been easy when we hit 270 as a team this fall, and so there wasn't nothing easy for us. At the same time, it showed us, in areas we need to work on, and but at the same time, it showed us we're capable, and that's what we come away with when we saw those draws in our district. I haven't seen the other 2 teams this fall. It's been last spring or later since I've seen them, and so I really can't speak to it. But to be honest with you, I think it's going to be a tough district for any of the 6 or 7 teams to come out of it, because I think it's going to take some depth in your pitching and doing it when it counts. You get cold. We found out last year in the district, you get a game where you're not hitting very well, and it gets tight and comes down to one big play, it'll be a well-earned win for whoever wins that district. I can tell you that it'll be well-earned. So.
Also looking at District 5 from last year, you guys just came up just short of a district championship last year, losing to Seymour, and then Seymour went all the way to the Final Four up in O'Fallon. And last year was the last year that the Final Four would be in O'Fallon, as it's now moved to Ozark. So if you guys want to beat those Tigers to the west along 60 there in Webster County, what's it going to be if you want to knock down the Tigers from Seymour?
It's going to take a lot of determination. Coach Dewey over there at Seymour done a great job, and they did lose a few like we did, but they've got some key parts coming back, and it's going to take execution that day if we matched up in the district, because I know they're going to be well motivated like they were a year ago. I know they're going to believe that they can get it done, and at the same time, us having beat them this fall, I believe that we will feel like we can get the job done too, and that'll all just remain to be seen. But it'll be a good one if it was to happen. You know, Gainesville shut us out this fall, first game of the year, 2-0. Then we turn around and beat them later in the fall. You know, and Fordland's not too bad either. It's just and the other two, like I said, I can't really speak of, but yeah, it's funny how seems like more and more we look, we get more and more rivals, and I think that's a good thing. That's what's special about high school sports, and keeps people talking about it and wants to come see because of the rivalries, and I think that's only good.
Rivalries are really good, and now talking about the Summit Conference with, once again, Fordland, Gainesville, Seymour, Mansfield, of course, Morrisville, Marion Sierra Lee, Conway, and your rivals of Hartville. So what do you expect from the Summit Conference? Who do you think will be at the top of the Summit Conference at the end of this spring?
Oh, we got to play them. We split with Conway, too. Conway and Hartville are Class 3, and Conway shut us out, and then we turned around and beat them later in the fall, just like we split with Gainesville. And then Hartville, we got rained out and didn't actually get to play them this fall. And I hear they've got a pretty salty ball club, and most, if not all, of their guys back, or most of them at least. And they added another left-handed pitcher to the mix, and from out here, they're going to be pretty tough. And there's an old saying: to be the best, you got to beat the best. And the Summit Conference has been well represented for many years. If you just look at the Final Four, Summit Conference has shown itself there. I'd hate to. You can't quote me on it because I don't have it in front of me, but I bet you in the last 10 years, the Summit Conference has been there seven out of 10 years, just off the top of my head. You can look that up, and I bet I'm close. If not, maybe a little better than that. But in Class 1, 2. 1 or 2, they've been represented really well, and to wear that to wear the conference championship badge is a big deal, because I believe the Summit is, if not the best, it's one of the top Class 2 conferences in the Class 2 and 3 combined now conferences in the state. So a lot of pride to take that one home.
Not only here in the state, but also in Southwest Missouri. You could compare the Summit Conference with the SWCL, the Ozarks 7, the Frisco League. So,
sure.
If you were to say any of the top 3 conferences here in Southwest Missouri, what would be your top 3 conferences you would put up on the dot for the best conferences here in Southwest Missouri for classes 1, 2, and 3?
Oh yeah. Classes 1, 2, and 3. Well, I can't speak about Class 3. It's been 20 years since, I guess Mid Lakes may not even exist anymore. That used to be a good conference, but or maybe it does. Just to be honest with you, but Summit and SWCL, I think around here are, and I know I'm leaving somebody out, but in Frisco, I mean, they all got good conferences. And when I'm looking at a conference, is I'll look at the coaches that are involved, and my goodness, I mean, the list is long of guys that are 15, 20 plus years of coaching, or let's say 10 to 15 years of coaching throughout all those conferences. And even if they don't have that much experience, you look at where they came from and how they're running their programs. There's a lot to be said for, I mean, I can speak to the Summit really well. I told our coaches at the all-conference meeting last year, I said, I've been a part of the Summit for, I don't know, it's like my 19th year in the Summit, or my 18th year in the Summit. And I can't remember a time, top to bottom, where it was more well-coached, just throughout. And just knowing every night when you show up, you're going to see a team that's prepared well, that knows what they're doing and does it the right way, and you're going to have to perform. I'm talking top to bottom. And, you know, there really is something to be said for the coaches. I know SWCL's got a lot of great coaches, and, you know, and their programs are starting to shine, or I say starting to shine. They're shining more and more each day, and you know, I kind of like that rivalry between the conferences. You know, you ask Coach Harmon down there which conference he likes better, and I'm sure he'd say his, and I like mine better, and I kind of like that. And, you know, how we match up against each other, because it's always a good battle when we cross those lines. So I always look forward to it.
It's always a good battle between two schools from both the Summit Conference and the SWCL. Can't count out the Frisco League as well as the Mid-Lakes Conference, the PCL, the Ozarks 7. Those are some pretty good conferences here in Southwest Missouri. And so
Absolutely.
Now we're talking about classes 1 through 5. Who do you think is going to be the best teams coming out of each 5 classes here in Southwest Missouri?
Adam, you can't pin me down on that one, buddy. I don't know. I tell you what, I can tell you who's to be tough ones. Probably on the smaller classes. You know, I'm assuming Dora's class 1, and I would have to say that they're probably and my mind's drawing blank on the class 1 level. You know, I'd have to say they're a top team in this area in class 1, and not to say that there's not many other teams in the round that couldn't possibly knock them off or beat them, what have you. But I know they got a good program down there, and class 2, there's a lot of schools. You know, a lot of teams in the hunt. You know, we faced that Crane team at Seymour Tournament this fall, and boy, it looked pretty good. Looked pretty confident. Nice little left-hander. I forget his name. You could probably tell me. You know, pitched well. Just a bulldog on the mound, and you know, kind of stuck out in my mind that down the road, you know, if they'd be a tough team to contend with. And even in the Summit, some of the teams in Class 2 we talked about, you know, Seymour and Gainesville, and you know, are real contenders. And then you talk about Class 3. You know, we've got Conway and Hartville in our conference, and you know, they're in one of the toughest. I can't remember if they're both in the same district, but I know that Class 3 district over there that Hartville's a part of is pretty stout, pretty loaded. And I think Ava come out of that last year, and there could have been 3 or 4 teams come out of that and done well beyond that. And so, you know, Ava and Hartville, Stratford, and you know, those are all quality programs, coaches that do a great job. And I know I'm leaving several out. You know, you got New Covenant in there and somewhere, and you know, it's this area is just a fun challenge as a coach to go up against a guy and you know, see how he runs his program, what he does against you, and that's kind of the excitement as a coaching end that I kind of look forward, along with just trying to win a ball game. So, but yeah, you can't pin me down on one team. But
hard to say is to say which team is the best coming out of each classes. And so we know that the district that Hartville is in, along with Conway, that's going to be a pretty salty-looking district with Fairgrove, Stratford, New Covenant. So you could expect maybe Ava to come out of that district, maybe Hartville comes out of that district. And so that is one thing that is really going to be a big stepping stone, which we believe is Class 3 is probably one of the more elite classes here in Southwest Missouri. We can't rule out Class 5 with the schools from Springfield, and as well as schools over from Joplin, and maybe even from mid-Missouri, even like Lebanon and Camdenton, who are two schools from Class 5 that aren't from the Springfield area. And now, if there are any final words you had to say to all the coaches that you're going to be playing for this season, what will your words be to all the coaches that you're going to be playing for this season?
Oh, I'd say, I just welcome the challenge. You talked about Camden and Lebanon. Camden, I actually played college ball. There's a coach over there, Bryce Durnan, the head coach, and so when we get together and match up, it's kind of a pride match just between him and I, and it's just fun. But that rivalry between coaches is fun. Take for instance, we just talked about Ava. Rex Sawyer down there for years. I've probably played him at least 10 times, and last year was probably 11 or 12th time I've coached against him. And first time I ever beat him was last year. I told him after the game, I said, "Well, checked you off the list finally. You're one of the coaches around that I hadn't beat yet." And that'll take a lot of pride in that. And we just got lucky that day, and it well. I mean, it really well, and very pleased. But just bring your best, because I'm going to try to bring my best, and we'll let the chips fall as it may.
Just bring your best. And that will end today's show for today. We hope you enjoyed our show. We hope you enjoyed us sitting down with the coach of the Mansfield Lions, Coach Joe Garrison. If you'd like to stay connected with the Mansfield Lions through their social media, be sure to like them on Facebook. Also follow them on Twitter. Their Twitter is at Mansfield Baseball. Once again, it's Mansfield Baseball on Twitter. Mansfield Baseball without the A and one L in baseball. And if you'd like to stay connected with Ozarks Sports Report through our social media, be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, check out our website and Podbean. Our website is ozarksportsreport.wixsite.com/ozarksportsreport. We also put this show up on our Podbean for you guys to check it out. For one final time, we want to thank Coach Joe Garrison for sitting down with us to talk about the upcoming spring 2020 season as we look once again at the season. The Mansfield Lions will open up their season with Mexico. Mexico coming out of mid-Missouri, which is supposed to be scheduled for Friday, March the 20th. And for one final time, I'm Adam Smith from the Ozarks Sports Report saying, have a good day, everybody.